mute button before I hit streaming.
Okay. All right. Because I heard the number 3 and then nothing and then silence. All right. So there you go. Congratulations. You get to hear the behind the scenes. Courage on display. Articles impeachment filed against Biden. You say, what? I didn't hear anything about this. You probably didn't. If you get your news from CNN, first of all, if you get your news from CNN, fill in the blank, MSNBC, menstruating news broadcasting. If that's where you're getting your news, then why are you here? I don't know why you're here. That's been our lot here lately. I guess that's a curse of like spreading your message or gaining in popularity, is that the artards discover you. More artards have been discovering us in the last 2 weeks than it seems like in forever. We had done a pretty good job filtering out the trolls and imbeciles, and then over the period of like the last 2 weeks, we're getting direct messages from people to attack us and tell us how stupid we are. Like 2 weeks ago, or last week, 2 weeks ago, I don't know. It was before the camp. Then that woman wrote in, said that we should kill ourselves. Remember? Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that. I guess it's the price that you pay. And I'm not even looking at the actual email, the info at. I never see that. Your mom doesn't. Your mom just goes in there and filters it out. I don't ever see that stuff. Oh, so we've got courage on display. I'm going to talk a little bit about Duracoat. I'm going to tell you what's been going on with my week, and well, all kinds of good stuff on today's show. So stand by, kids.
Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio, proudly brought to you from the SDS Imports studio. If you want quality that's affordable, visit sdsimports.com. We don't just talk guns and gear, we also discuss current events and politics, because guns are politics. Now sit back and listen louder to your co-host, CEO of Full 30, Jared Markle, and your beloved host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
All right. I hope that comes out well on the recording, because that sounded kind of... Did you guys notice that?
I did
stretchy?
Not. Jared, did you hear that?
It sounded kind of stretchy.
No.
Oh,
I think it's just on your end.
It's just on my end. Okay, that's satellites and stuff.
Just on your rear end.
Just on your end. All right. Well, apparently we are live right now on Facebook, Discord, and YouTube. Oh, YouTube. You're such a I don't know what. We got spanked this week, Jared. Did I tell you we got spanked?
Ooh.
We got spanked on Instagram when I shared the picture of the PX9 Gen 2. They told us we violated their community standards. And then we got spanked again for another post. And I'm trying to think of which one it was, because I'm the one who gets these emails that says, attention, user. You are being spanked because you violated our community standards. It was probably something like we told the truth, or we reference a historical fact. And you can't have that. We're not going to have the truth. We're not going to have historical fact here on our platform. And hopefully, well, I talked to a little birdie, and a little birdie told me that soon, that there's going to be a platform that has live streaming and videos and chats and discussions that will not censor you to meet their agenda. So there you go.
I've heard the same thing.
You heard the same thing. So there you go. There you go. Looking. It's a Monday show. I'm going to tell you guys a story. Well, here's the story. I've been under the weather. not super horrible under the weather, but I think I just wore myself out. You know what I need, Jared? I need you or another person. It's probably going to be you because you're there. I'm getting to the point now where I don't think I can do 12-hour days of instruction.
12-hour.
It just wears me out.
Yeah.
Um,
I was talking to Ben, and him and I were way more worn out than we thought we were going to be from that.
yeah.
I don't know what it was, just the altitude or.
Well, we did the whole weekend's worth of training, and I came back and I worked. And I did a really hard training day on Tuesday, and about Tuesday night I started feeling. Your mom walked in the living room. She goes, "You sound like you're getting a cold." And I had yeah.
Yeah.
Then I woke up Wednesday and my head was all swimmy, and it's basically it's just hard to focus. I didn't have like gut stuff or anything. I could eat just fine or whatever. I mean, your mom made me a big crock pot full of homemade chicken soup. So, and I've been putting goldfish crackers. I've been putting Ruth's goldfish crackers. I put Ruth's goldfish crackers in my chicken soup. I'm probably gonna get in trouble. Ruth's probably gonna be. Your mom said. She said Ruth's gonna be mad at you for putting her goldfish crackers in your soup. We can buy more. So that's my way of telling you that I've really only been doing things that absolutely required my attention for the last couple of days. I've just been taking it easy.
Slow ride?
Yeah, slow ride. Now, yesterday was my easy lift day. It was my light day.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like, because Wednesday strike that, reverse it. Saturday, I took the day off, obviously. My training days are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And obviously, because we were out in the field all day Saturday, I took Saturday off. And, there were
no barbells in the field.
The reasonable side of my brain, the reasonable side of my brain said, just send your coach a note and tell him you're not feeling good and skip it.
Yeah.
And then the practical side of my brain said, you just skipped Saturday. You came back for one day and you're going to skip another day. You freaking vagina. So I went ahead and I drank some orange cold medicine and changed my clothes, and I went out there and I did essentially an abbreviated set, but I did it. I did the warm-ups and all that. And the pathetic thing is I was sweating by the time I had a fever Wednesday night, and I was sweating by the time I finished the warm-ups. I'm like, wow, this is pathetic. But I did the videos, and I sent them to Graham, and he's like, okay, well, good job, whatever. I could tell you were struggling a little bit. Speaking of cold medicine, let's talk about cold medicine. You guys want to talk about cold medicine? I want to talk about cold medicine.
Real quick.
We didn't play the beginning music yet.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Focus. And before
Did we?
Yes. Before we move off of barbells onto cold medicine, I want to tell you a story about something I saw yesterday involving barbells. So I was on my way to work. I got off the highway, started driving down because I drive down this little kind of residential street to get to my office. And as I was going by, there was a dude with one of those square squat racks, like on the shoulder of the road, doing his workout.
Huh.
He was outside.
Like outside of his house, and then there's the curb, then there's a little space, then there's the line, then there's the road. He had his thing set up between the curb and the line, and I was like, is he like giving it away? But no, I saw he had like the weightlifting belt on. I was like,
he was in the rack.
No, he had like as I was coming up, he had just like he was walking away from it, but he had the belt on. So it's not like he was like, I'm just putting this shit out here, stuff out here. Damn it.
Did it look like? Did it look like he was? You got it. Write that time down. Did it look like? So did it appear as though he was putting it by the curb for pickup?
No, it looked like he was putting it by the curb to work out on it because like the barbell was on it and everything.
That's weird.
I guess his car was his wife's car was in the garage or something. He's like, well, I got my workout in.
I'm going to move the whole squat rack.
And the plates and everything.
That's awesome.
For a second, I was thinking about I should call Jared because if this is just sitting there, But then I saw he had the belt on, and he was he was doing his workout just on the side of the road.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Go
You
ahead.
know what that reminds me of?
What does that remind you of?
What does it remind you guys of? Saturday mornings at the
Oh, yeah.
studio?
Oh
Yeah,
The guy?
the gun show.
The gun show. So, in case you're new, we had a training facility in Biloxi. We had our studio, and then we had a gym. We had a fighting gym, and we had a training facility. We had the whole thing. And across the street from us was a building which was originally a warehouse for remember, it was an instrument warehouse. It was like they were storing speakers and stuff in it. You guys remember that? When we first moved in there before it became a CrossFit gym?
Yeah, I remember that because they would like come out and have the
back
speakers
trucks up.
and stuff. Yeah.
They'd have these giant
Yeah,
amplifiers
that's right,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Well, anyway, so when we first moved in, it was a storage facility for amplifiers and your concert equipment. Then they moved out, and then a CrossFit gym moved in across the street from us. And for I don't know how many weeks in a row it was, but we would come in on Saturday mornings or Saturdays because we were there basically 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. And there was a guy who would roll up the door. It had a rolling door and a ramp and stuff, and he would literally pull all the CrossFit gear out of the building into the parking lot of the CrossFit gym, and then do his workout shirtless in the parking lot. His kettlebells and his box jumps and his
Maybe he was one of the owners, and that's how he got the ladies to come join the gym.
Oh, but the thing is, we were on a dead end street.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we were on a main thoroughfare where there was all kinds of traffic. We were on a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Yes, we were on a cul-de-sac. Oh man.
So cold
That's
medicine.
great. Yeah,
Cold medicine.
cold medicine. So cold medicine. Thank you for bringing me back there. All right. You get the 2-pack, the daytime, nighttime, right? And the only difference is the one doesn't have an antihistamine in it because antihistamine makes you tired. Although sometimes you need antihistamine in the daytime. But so daytime cold medicine, I'm talking liquid, but liquid gels too. Liquid gels is orange. Can we all agree on that? That's how we know the difference. It's orange. Nighttime, when I was growing up, NyQuil. NyQuil is green, and it has that menthol mint kind of taste, right? That licorice taste, right? Here's the thing. It's supposed to taste like it's supposed to taste. All right? Then some genius decided, I know what we're going to do. We're going to make the nighttime stuff a purple berry flavor. Let me tell you what, it doesn't taste like purple berry anything. It tastes like puke. It's disgusting. I don't need that. You know what I appreciated about the nighttime cold medicine when I was younger and in my 20s and 30s and so forth? The green stuff. No, you pour the green stuff and you're feeling like, bleh. You know how you feel like bleh when you're sick. Pour the green stuff in the cup. You drink it and you feel instantly the relief, the menthol relief, right, in your sinuses. You're like, I'm going to go lay down now. I don't need purple berry crap freaking nighttime cold medicine. I don't know who thought that up. I don't know who thought it was a good idea, but you were wrong and you need to be slapped. Green is nighttime, orange is daytime. That's it. Quit screwing around. Go to the freaking Family Dollar, like, yeah, we got the combo pack. We got the day and night, and the day is orange, and the night is purple puke berry. No, I don't want that. I don't know who decided to do that, but you're wrong. Freaking fix yourself. Woo. Maybe it's the cold medicine talking. Like, that's something that probably shouldn't happen. Is we probably shouldn't put Paul on the radio when he's under the influences of cold medicine.
This has been a great episode so far. I disagree.
we probably should not put Paul on the air when he's under the influence of cold medicine. And see, in the old days when they put codeine in liquid cold medicine, which was the good stuff. Now we're all a bunch of freaking vaginas and pansies now. Oh, we can't have that. You know, they put on the label alcohol free. I don't want alcohol free nighttime cold medicine. I want the crap with alcohol in it. You know why? Because I want to go to sleep and sleep for 8 hours. That's why. Now they dumbed it down. I hate this world. We're such a bunch of pansies and vaginas in this world. Right? Oh, I can't have that anymore. We can't have cold medicine with codeine because people were abusing it. People are always going to abuse stuff. Things are always going to be abused. We're just going to take everything away because someone might abuse it.
Yes.
That's the exact same argument they use for guns.
That's what we've done as a society for a long time. We take away the things from everybody that uses it correctly because someone might abuse it. Yeah. Like, well, someone out there might be abuse it, so no one can have it. So what I think this is a kind of an interesting discussion, but my initial thoughts on this are that if we continue to do that, we're removing the ability or the need for the human to make their decisions. The decisions are being made for them. So the more we do that, the more we remove that decision-making process, the harder it gets for people to make these decisions.
No, that's the ultimate end game is the peasant, the serf, the citizen. We don't let them make decisions because they're not smart enough. And if we let them make decisions, see that right there, you just explained liberalism in a nutshell. I'm going to have to find that quote again, and I should have saved it. But essentially, it was Thomas Sowell talking about the difference between conservatives and liberals. And
Tom Clancy said what?
No, Thomas Sowell. How liberals put their faith in the system because people can't be trusted.
Yeah, but who makes up the system, whatever that system is?
Well, it's people. It's people who are smarter than you. You see, the people in the system are smarter than you, the stupid peasant serf. You as an individual, see, individuals make mistakes. Individuals might choose not to do what you want them to do. You see, if you give people individual liberty and let them make their own choices, they might not do what you want. And we can't have that. So we have to put all our faith in the system, and we have to give power to the system so that the system can force people to make the choice that they've decided they need to make. The system, the collective, has decided what is best for everyone. And if you don't get on board with that, you're wrong. And that's exactly it. That is where and you say, wow, how do we get from cold medicine to here?
Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio for those of you
it's true. It's true, though.
That are just here for the first time.
People who don't understand when I say that these vax, and it's not a fucking, it's not a vaccine. I told you don't put me on the radio under the influence of cold medicine. It's not a freaking vaccine, all right? We're losing control of the language, and we're just. I think it's time. I think it's time for the people of America to say that's enough. We're done. Enough. No more. No, we're not listening to you anymore. As we were prepping the show, I saw there was a thing from Breitbart that says Sniffy Joe live discussing vaccine, blah, blah, blah. Why are we even allowing that freaking senile criminal to come on our televisions or our computers or our phones or whatever? We know this man is a senile criminal who's being manipulated like a puppet by evil people. We know this. There's no question about it. Based on his behavior, 6 months worth of criminal corruption, incompetence, criminal behavior for 6-7 months now, going 8-9 months. I guess we're 9 months into this corrupt criminal regime, and we're still like, well, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, so I guess we just have to let it happen. That's how we got to this position as a nation. But I digress.
Yeah, that was just funny. None of that was in the notes, guys. That was just.
But
all
I digress. Oh, so all of that buildup was a way for me to tell you about that was my setup for the Duracoat Finished Firearm of the Week. All right. So some of you, if you follow us on our socialist media, which basically is Facebook and Instagram and MeWe, I don't know if it got shared on MeWe or Parler, but I did get a package.
Before them. Oh, no, I lied. You do. We did share on MeWe and Parler.
Did you just swear again?
No.
Okay. So I posted a picture. I received a package from Duracoat University. I received a package, and there's 3 cans of Canon Can technology, the Canon Can Duracoat. And if you don't know what that is, you should really look it up. It's pretty cool. They take the hardener, they put it on in a small can inside of the big can where the color is, and they keep them separate, and they stay separate, and you can leave them on a shelf for years. Then when you mix them, it's got a little rattle thing in it. Mix them up. You've got, I think they're up to a week now. I don't know what Steve did, what kind of magic he worked. Because when they originally came out, he said, use it within 48 hours. Right. And now I think last time I checked, he said you have to use it within a week. So either way, I've never had it sitting around that long, because before I crack it open, before I mix it, I've already worked up in my head how I'm going to use it all. And every once in a while, I'll do a project and I'll realize that one of the colors, or maybe 2 of the colors, I've got a half or a quarter of a can left. And I definitely don't want to waste it, because it's far too valuable to waste. You don't want to just leave it sitting on the shelf. So what I do often is I have, like many Americans, I have a stack of ammo cans.
No. No, I don't think so.
I have a stack of ammo cans, and they're all in various, some of them look like they're brand new. Some of them look like you've had them for 30 years, Paul, because believe it or not, I have some ammo cans that I've had for, let me see, when was 1990? Is that 30 years ago? I've had some ammo cans for like 30 years. So every once in a while, if I have a little bit of leftover, whether it's olive drab or flat dark earth or black or whatever, if I've got some, a little bit left in the can, I finished the project's done. And that's one of the things Steve said. Remember, he said, you need to know not just when to start and how to do it, but when to stop. When to stop, and not, you need to stop yourself. Because put too much on, then you want enough, but you don't want too much. So sometimes you just have to stop yourself and know when to finish. But I've got a quarter of a can. That's going to do. I could do an entire ammo can with a quarter can of Duracoat. And many years ago, if you guys have been with us, I was reminded here recently when Don Gregg showed up. He showed up to a class, and he had his sexy can. And somebody else said, who was it? I can't remember, but I specifically remember Don's out there. He's like, "Yay, I got mentioned on the show." But we had a contest, and people took Duracoat, and they did super cool, sexy, neat, interesting patterns and so forth on their ammo cans. Zach, were you able to find any of those pictures? It's been a couple of years.
Oh, no, yeah, I found all of them, and then I tried to click on it so I could do a little slideshow, and then it changed. But we're currently on the slideshow now that I fixed it.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So, yeah, that was my way of telling you that I've got the cans, I've got the colors, But I've been sick and I haven't done the daggum project. So climb down off my back. Sometimes you get sick too. I think people out there right now are actually, they're looking for my mailing address or my shipping address so that they can mail me cold medicine.
It's like, just make sure it's not that berry stuff.
Yeah, don't mail me that berry crap. If you got the good nighttime stuff with the codeine in it, there you go. We're like, well, actually, I want cold medicine, Paul. I want cold medicine, Paul, on the radio all the time. Oh, if you guys missed out on the Sexy Can contest, you really did miss out. I did one just for fun, but I am nowhere near as creative or talented as some of the people in our audience. Christopher Umana kind of cheats because he's actually a professional artist. But yeah, we had some really interesting. There were so many good submissions that we actually had to spread it out amongst 5 people in the Student of the Gun family and let everybody pick their top 3, and then we tabulated them because it was hard. It was really hard to pick winners because there were so many good ones. I wish we could have given out 10 prizes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where they're at right now. I sent Amy an email and I said, "Hey, where are we at with those No Ugly Gun stickers?" And I'm waiting. I'm waiting to hear back. But that's because that's the theme for Duracode is hashtag no ugly guns, right? No more ugly guns. So we've got no naked guns. That's the theme for the put a holster around that sucker and quit just dropping it in your pocket. And then we've got the no ugly guns because Duracode, life is too short
to have an ugly gun.
That's right. That's right. All right, moving on. I just kind of teased you. Crossbreed Holsters, crossbreedholster.com. And
use the code SOTG.
Yes. No more naked guns.
I'm excited to test this thing that they're sending us. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it yet, but there's a thing that their Crossbreed is sending us.
Better make sure. It's a new product.
I'm not going to mention it, but it's coming.
I'm not going to tell you what. I can't tell you. Student of the Gun, SOTG, get a good American-made product. Brownells at brownells.com. They have the new Credova financing system. If you want to know what's new and what's shaking, call my friend sitting in my office with a plate of grilled bacon. Call my friend Dwight just to see what was shaking. He said, "Yo, Brownells is dope and pretty." So check out Brownells in the Electric City. BRN to 556-223. Text BRN to 556-223. Hey, Zach.
Aloha.
You there?
Hi.
All right. So, Zach, you know how you do the show notes?
I do the show notes very often.
For the public people, when people see this on Monday and they open it up.
Yeah.
Can you make sure that www.sotggiveaway.com is in there?
Yes, I can.
So they can click on it?
Absolutely.
Because today is today's the 27th. So that means, well, as this, you know what I mean. That means you got 3 days, 27, 28, 29, I guess 4 technically, 30, to go to SOTGgiveaway.com, sign up, and you could win the one and only PX9 Gen 2 flat dark earth model. How's those pictures coming along, Jared? The ones that you gave to your wife?
Oh, I have them.
Okay.
I have them, and I need to send them to...
You should make them public. To the public so they can see them. But yes, we have a one-of-a-kind flat dark earth. It's from SDS Imports, and one of you guys is going to win it. And then when you win it, you will be able to tell all your friends and neighbors and anybody else who wants to listen that you're the only one in America that has a factory one. Now, you could Duracode it after fact, but we're going to send it to you already done. Yes. So there you go. SOTGgiveaway.com. And I shared some. Did you guys see the picture? I got the High Point yeet cannon, G1 Tango Bravo threaded barrel.
Oh, yeah.
And just because I'm that kind of guy, I went ahead and threw the cash pattern.
Cash me outside.
Cash me outside. I threw the cash pattern Benjamin Franklin $100 bill, yo, grips on it. just because I figured it would rattle people's cages. Hashtag hater gonna hate. That's right, hater gonna hate. And what I'm hoping to do is, as I'm looking at the calendar, I should be, knock wood, I should be getting a UPS package today that has some subsonic 9mm ammo in it. If the stars and the moon and the planets all align today, because it was shipped out on Monday, so that'd be about right? If it was shipped Monday, it should be here. It should be. If not, then I guess next Monday. But what you say? Well, who cares about subsonic ammo? Isn't that match ammo? Au contraire, mon frère. See, that's the interesting thing about the 147 grain bullet. And I believe actually the ammo that's coming is 151 grain, which is weird, but whatever, I'll go with it. They slowed down the bullets. Do you guys know the story of the 147 grain jacket at Hollow Point?
No.
Everybody knows that story.
Tell us.
All right, why does it exist? It didn't always exist. The standard load for 9mm for the longest time was a 115, and we had 124. So you had 124 grain full metal jacket, right? You had 115 grain full metal jacket. That was very standard. It's supersonic, averaging between 1150 and 1200 feet per second. Now the military, the M882 military ammo is essentially plus P plus. It's super hot. And you say, well, that's dumb. Why would they do that? They do that because the military, our United States military, said, here's the deal. We're going to make and stock 9mm ammo, but it has to work in fill in the blank. It has to work in the Berettas. The military actually owns SIG pistols that they call the M11. They has to work in the M17 pistol, but it also has to work in the Uzis that the government the government owns. Yeah, the government owns Uzis. The government owns MP5s. So it's got to work in everything. So what they did is they're like, here's what deal. We're going to make it hot. I don't know if you guys have shot Uzis lately, but an Uzi will shoot any kind of ammo you want to put in it as long as it's full metal jacket and plus P. You're like, well, that kind of narrows it down. Oh, so the it's hot ammo. You're like, all right,
hot.
What's the point? My point is this all been very, very standard. And it wasn't until the late 1980s, early 90s that the SEALs all of a sudden decided that they needed to run their MP5 SDs. That's the integrally suppressed MP5, super cool ninja stuff, with subsonic ammo, right? Subsonic means it doesn't break the speed of sound. Now, if you guys have ever been fortunate enough to shoot an MP5 SD, they are stupid quiet. Literally, you press the trigger, and all you hear is a tick as the slide or the action moves. It's like tick, 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 tick. You hear no bullet sound. Why? Because the bullet's going really slow. Well, it's going like 990, 995. It's not breaking the speed of sound. Now, you say, well, then it doesn't open. Right? No, it doesn't open. But here's the deal. If you want a handgun, like a 9mm handgun, to be really quiet, you shoot the 147 grain ammo. You shoot subsonic. And then all you're basically going to hear is the action working and so on and so forth. And when hopefully, like I said, if the present lady shows up today with a box of ammo for me, I'm going to be doing a video with the yeet cannon, with the threaded barrel, with an AAC can, and you guys can hear for yourself. Somebody's like, well, you need to go out and you need to get a decibel meter. I've looked up decibel meters, and they're kind of pricey. They're kind of pricey.
Do we need a decibel meter? We need a decibel meter. We'll get a decibel meter.
Yeah, I don't know. I see. The thing is, do we have to have it?
Like, I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Do you really believe me? I actually looked them up years ago, and you could try and use your phone, but the thing is, the app on your phone.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't work. You need a dedicated one. Go ahead and look it up, Jared, if you want, like a real legit decibel meter. You can get like generic ones, but I think they run in the $500 to $700 range.
I don't know what to look for. I guess you'd have to teach me, because the ones that I just found are like 100, 150. There's some that are $500-600, but if we're using it for production, if it benefits the viewer, then we probably should get one.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I was pricing them, and the low end ones weren't going to register what I needed them to register.
Yeah,
I was going to have to, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's time. What is it time for? It's time for you to close that hole under your nose and listen louder, because Zach's got something he wants you to hear.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a complimentary online training course called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. Get instant access by joining the Student Lounge for free at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of these questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Yes, indeed. If today's show was a meme, maybe I think today's show is like patterning a shotgun. We've got a story for you, and it's been around, and there's let me see. Oh, yep, we've got the actual articles of impeachment that are in it. Newsmax.com is the source, and the dateline, because they actually know how to put a dateline in their stories. Congratulations to you, Newsmax, for actually doing it right. The dateline is Tuesday, 21 September 2021. And what's interesting to me, in addition to just the story itself, is the representative who filed this is from our old stomping ground. Do you know that Bob Gibbs used to be a hog farmer in Holmes County, Ohio? Did you know that, Jared? That he's from Holmes County?
I did not know that.
Yes. I went to school with his kids when I was in we lived there. We lived in Holmes County when I lived out in the country. So, and I had no idea he was still in Congress. I remember when he ran originally for the seat. So, Jared, if you would go ahead and read this.
It says GOP Rep Gibbs files 3 articles of impeachment against Biden. He says House Republicans led by Rep Bob Gibbs, Republican Ohio, have filed articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden, citing the border crisis, chaotic and deadly Afghanistan withdrawal, and attempting to break constitutional law on extending the eviction ban. Reps Andy Biggs, Republican of Arizona, Brian Babin, Republican of Texas, and Randy Weber, Republican of Texas, signed on to the 3-pronged complaint. Or Weber, yeah.
Okay. It sounded like you said Weaver, like the Randy Weaver. I was like, there's a rep named Randy Weaver?
Weaver.
That would be some comeuppance. That'd be ironic, but
yeah. They signed on to the three-pronged complaint, even if the Democrat-controlled House under Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who's Democrat of California, are sure to ignore it. And despite Democrats holding only a slim majorities in the House and Senate, the Vice President Kamala Harris can cast a tie-breaking vote in the Senate. Gibbs says, obviously, it's not going to go anywhere with Speaker Pelosi, but it shows that there are some Republicans that think that this president needs to be impeached. He needs to be removed from office one way or another. At some point, they're going to be held accountable for their actions, and this kind of is putting them on notice.
Yes.
I take it seriously, he says. I don't think it's haphazard. I'm not trying to get media attention for myself. He's done so much damage to this country in less than 9 months, which is really scary. He's not capable of being commander-in-chief, and that's obvious by the actions since day one when he took presidency back in January. Maybe something like this makes the White House think twice before they do some of this nonsense.
Yes. Now, and I put in the story that this is courageous because it's courage on display. Why is it courage on display? What do you mean, Paul? Because even we have criminals in control of our House. We have criminals in control of the Senate. We have criminals in control of the White House, of the executive branch. It would be easy. See, the easy thing to do would just be to go along. The easy thing to do would be to say, well, there's nothing we can do about it anyway, so why even try? That's the easy thing. The easy thing is to just go along. The easy thing for people in Washington is to figure out how to line their pockets. What they've done is they've actually stepped up and said, no, okay, I don't care if this is going to go to the House for a vote. I don't care if it's going to go to the Senate for a trial. We don't care. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Pretending to be in the majority doesn't make you morally right. In the United States of America, we are a representative republic governed under a constitution. The Constitution guarantees people individual liberty. We've said this before on the show, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, it doesn't matter if 9,000 people all decide that this is the way it's going to be. You as an individual don't have to participate. We say, no, everyone decided, and so you have to. And this is when you get to, in the United States, under a Bill of Rights, under a Constitution, you get to say, I don't care. I don't care. We've said this before. I don't care if the media gets 100 million people to agree that assault weapons are bad and you shouldn't own guns and the great thing about the Bill of Rights and the Constitution is I don't have to care. I don't have to care what the majority says because that's what democracy is. Democracy is mob rule. Democracy is the collective deciding for everyone. And what we knew and what we've always known is that is a recipe for destruction. Wow. Okay. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a recipe for tyranny. We got people in this country pretending like it's the government's job to care about your health. Or the government does care about your health. The government doesn't care about your health. Well, no, that's not true. The government, they're forcing mandatory vaccinations. That's them. Hey, Sparky, were you alive 2 or 3 years ago? Yeah. Okay. Oh, let's say 3-4 years ago. Let's go all the way back to 2018. We'll go to the CDC and we'll go to the leading cause of death in America. whether it's cancer, heart disease, lung disease, whatever. Would you have said in 2018 it was the government's job in 2018 to take control of people's lives and force them to change the way they lived in order to combat the greatest threat of death in America? Would you have gone along with that? Seriously, would you have gone along with that? This is when you say, if you're intellectually honest, you'll say, well, and let's face facts. All of your psychotic liberal Democrat friends, if in 2018 Donald Trump would have gone and said, I hereby declare via executive order that no one is allowed to blank, eat fast food, whatever, right? If Trump would have gone out and said, I am creating a mandate for health and safety, all of you psychotic liberal mothers would have been out in the street rending your garments, putting ash on your head, screaming in the middle of the streets that the president has no authority to tell me how to live my life. But all of a sudden, because you watch CNN nonstop, you stare at your phone nonstop, now all of a sudden the majority, and it's really not, but you're supposed to believe it is because you're bombarded. You're supposed to believe, well, the majority's decided, so you have to. See, that's the thing. That's what's courageous about this story, is you have people who have stepped up and said, no, I don't care whether the majority of the House or the majority of the Senate, I don't care whether they agree with this or not. Facts are the facts. This is the facts are the facts. This person is a criminal. This person is corrupt. He's inept. He has no business leading the United States of America. You can keep telling me he does, but here's the fact: he doesn't. That's courageous. Now, I know you guys in my audience are smart people. Zach, how far are we into this?
47 minutes.
Okay, I know you guys in my audience are smart people. You lived through the 4 years of Donald Trump. And you remember when the day, the second that Trump got elected, first of all, there was the screaming and the wailing and the gnashing of teeth and the rending of garments by the liberals, because they were sure that they were going to steal the election in 2016. They were positive of it. So they immediately started cooking up this Russian collusion scheme. Am I the only one in the world that sees the hypocrisy of the liberal left? They're like, they were convinced that a foreign country could overturn our election until 2020. And then there was absolutely no possible way. And anyone who thinks it is a crazy person. Now, we've got a link in here, and you guys can open it up. It's a New York Times. Basically, it's the history of the Trump impeachment stories. Now, you recall, and you may recall, or you may remember, whether it was the New York Times, whether it was CNN, whether it was MSNBC or NBC or ABC or whatever, the millisecond that a Democrat called for impeachment of Trump, the media treated it as though it was a fait accompli. Jared, do you guys remember the tweets? I can't remember who the idiot freaking liberal Hollywood person was. They went out. They're like, why is Trump still in the White House if he's been impeached? He has to leave. What? Yeah. He has to leave. He's got to resign. He has to go now. I don't think you know what that word means. Do you remember that? Yes. Please tell me you remember that. The fact is, every time the Democrats attack Trump with their impeachment tactic, The media, they spent days, weeks, months. Like if you look at the history, I pulled this up, and it's actually very illustrative. I pulled it up, all of the stories, dozens, hundreds, thousands of stories, over and over and over and over and over and over again. Trump impeached. What does Trump impeachment mean? What does it mean? Where does it go now? No. What does it mean? Now, my question to you is this. Over the last week, how many times in your news feed, on your phone, on your television, on your computer, how many times on your news feed did the words Biden impeached or impeach Biden or articles of impeachment, how many times have those come up? In this one you say, actually, other than this story, this is the only place I've seen it. Hypocrisy. Complete and total hypocrisy on the part of the mainstream media, the MSM. What did Rush call them before he went? He called them the legacy media. Why isn't the New York Times, CNN, fill in the blank, why aren't they running this story nonstop? Why aren't they getting experts on panels on Sunday to spend hours talking about what does this mean? What does each individual, there's 3 specific charges. What do those mean? Why aren't they doing that? Oh, because this is our guy. This is the guy that we decided we were going to put in, and so we don't care. So it's different. Yep. So there's 2 basic takeaways from this story about Representative Bob Gibbs filing 3 articles of impeachment against Joe Biden. Number 1, it's courageous that they did this, that they put their names on it, that they said, I don't care if the majority's not with us. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay, that's courageous. When you stand up against the majority to speak the truth, that's courageous. And then the other takeaway from this is the sheer and total hypocrisy of the U.S. news media, of the legacy media. There you go. All right, Wednesday. What are we going to talk about on Wednesday? Man stabs another man for bugging him. And this is when you say, do what now? It's a real story. We're going to talk about it. Maybe we'll learn something. Maybe, I don't know. And then this wasn't a fever dream. I actually came up with this around the campfire. We had a campfire this weekend, and I came up with this idea. And I think it's an idea whose time has come. And I'm going to share that with you on Wednesday. So you want to be here for it. Until then, cats and kittens, remember, you're a beginner once.
You're a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.
And that was the first episode for today. You're muted. Muted? There we go.
All right, I'm going to go brew myself some tea.
And Jared, you got a phone call to take?
Yeah, I got to call Christy in 3 minutes, so I'm going to do that, and it's a 15-minute call. Are you feeling good enough to do another episode? Or do you want to just wait and reconvene?
No, let's do Wednesday. We can do Wednesday. I'm already here.
All right. So,
yeah,
guys,
but then that kind of messes up our.
If I do another one, how does that mess up our program?
Because
we always do 2 on Friday.
No, we had this discussion of the whole purpose of the whole thing that we made the change for, and we all agreed that it was a good idea.
Yes, but currently Dad is.
And so now, I know, but if we do 1, then we reconvene, and then we do 3 the next time, that'll still achieve the goal that we're trying to achieve.
When are we going to reconvene?
I don't know, Saturday, Sunday.
We're going to draw an audience on Sunday.
But also, I thought that we already. We're live, guys.
I know.
Didn't we already discuss on what's the thing, Slack, that we'll do 2 today and 2 on Monday, and then we were all like, okay, cool, Gucci.
Yeah, it's defeating the purpose of the thing. So now we don't have any data that we can make decisions off of.
Well, yeah.
So it's part of the problem, but whatever. All right, I'm gonna go make the call.
All right. Yeah, he likes to do that sometimes, where it's like, okay, we got a plan, and then later he's like, well, shit, the plan ruins everything in my life. Fuck everything. He likes to do that. Yeah, even though he was involved. He was involved in the conversation. It was like, we'll do 2 today, and then we'll do 2 tomorrow, and he's like, okay, fine. Yeah. Whatever. All right, guys. We'll see you in about 15 minutes or so. All right. And we're waiting on Jared to get back.
All right.
Get yourself some tea or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I got myself some eucalyptus tea. Yeah.
I got myself a nice little. Jared just finished the call. Perfect. All right, so he should be back down in just a moment. Let me put up the little thing. Boop. Boop. All right. Yeah, sorry about the long break, folks. Jared had to take care of some business stuff. As we all know, business stuff is very important. What'd you send me? I'm getting this. Let's answer this together.
No.
Hello?
No.
About that warranty, and since we've not gotten a response, we're giving you a final courtesy call before we close out your file.
Is this a car warranty thing?
Yeah.
Tell them just go die.
Okay.
Oh man, I figured it out. Okay, turn that off now. I don't want to hear that anymore.
Fuck off. All right.
Okay.
What's up?
So, remember how I opined? I said when did
There's Jared.
Did the cops? When did police? When did they start this whole posing in front of confiscated stuff? When did they start this whole thing of posing in front of things that they confiscated from the peasants?
I'm assuming early 2000s.
No. Prohibition.
That makes a lot of sense.
All the way back in the 30s, in the 20s and in the 30s, they started the posing in front of alcohol. Look at what we discovered. Look at what we took away from the peasants. It's pretty, if you think about it from a psychological standpoint, it's pretty fucking insidious. It's pretty fucking sick.
Yeah.
It's like, look at us.
Well, I mean, and they also were doing that in the war on drugs.
Took this. Right, but we had, the question that I had was, where were the origins? What point in time did they decide, hey, we need to stack up all this stuff that we've confiscated from the peasants and stand behind it proudly posing? It had to start somewhere. And it occurred to me. I found a story, and there's a picture of the revenuers and the popo standing around the alcohol that they'd seized, going all the way back to the 1920s.
Damn.
Because this is actually part of the story that the government ordered an increased amount of ethanol or methanol, a poisonous alcohol-based substance, to be put into industrial alcohols, because at the time, what was happening was, because of prohibition, bootleggers were taking industrial alcohol and converting it, putting color and caramel color and flavor and shit in it to make it drinkable alcohol. And so by forcing in the industry, by forcing manufacturers to double the amount of methanol, they essentially made the alcohol that was once consumable poisonous, so that when people took this and converted it, well, anybody who drank it would die.
Yeah.
Because people can't be allowed. People can't be allowed. If you want to look at what's going on in the country today, you really need to look back to the 1930s, the 1920s, and the 1930s. Now, the 1920s was prohibition, And what came hot on the heels of Prohibition? This little event in the United States history called the Great Depression.
Yep.
So the massive government overreach throughout the decade of the 20s ushered in the financial collapse of the 1930s. What? But we can't learn anything from history because that's just old shit that happened a long time ago. Right?
Yeah.
That's just, I wasn't even born then. I wasn't born then. It doesn't matter. I got a question. Why is it that the professional journalists of the world, whose job it is, like they get fucking paid to look at facts and history? That's their whole job.
Yes.
Why is it Paul Markle has to fucking bring this shit up?
Because they don't care. All right, let's go ahead and update the title of the show.
All right.
I think Sammy told me about this one for some reason.
Which one?
The man stabs another man for bugging him.
Why you bugging? Why you bugging? Why you want to be bugging?
I just realized we did not have a topic written down for Brownell's bullet points. Brought to you by Brownells. Brownells.com.
Brought to you by
How about the PL? Do you have any experience with the PL 350 pistol light?
Oh, the one that they're selling?
Correct.
The Mod Light. No, I don't. But apparently Mod Light is taking the world by storm.
What about affordable storage solutions?
Yeah, there you go. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm looking through the banner.
I see what you're doing.
I'll probably put the currently in between episodes thing back up. How about
did you guys see that
armaments?
No, but did you guys see that Smith and Wesson just came out with their own version of the KSG and they're charging $1,100 for it?
I did not see that.
Yeah, so 12 years after Kel-Tec comes out with the KSG, Smith and Wesson decided to come out with their own version. you gotta respect their innovation and forward thinking abilities.
Yeah.
It's funny to me that the big guys, in the industry, like the Rugers and the Smiths and the stuff, that they actually they're waiting for the little guys to do stuff. Like the LCP is a straight up 100% ripoff of the PT80 or the P380 of the Kel-Tec. 100% straight up, like shot for shot, inch for inch ripoff of that gun. Why is massive giant Ruger waiting for little tiny Kel-Tec to make something and then taking their design and ripping it off? Smith & Wesson. Look what we did. We did the M&P 12 bullpup shotgun. You mean the KSG? No, not at all. It's an M&P. Why do you think that is, Jared? Why do you think that the people that have the most money and the most the biggest R&D teams and why do they wait for the little guy to do something? Is it because they're letting the little guy take the risk for them?
You muted.
Oh.
Not you, him.
I guess.
Risks equal reward.
Yeah, but why wouldn't... Maybe it's because they figured out the Remington model. It's like, yeah, but every time Remington comes out with a big new idea, it's a fucking flop.
Yeah, I don't know.
You remember the R9? Shh. The only thing Remington did good with the R9 was they put the sights on the right way. No, is that? I don't know. I'm not trying to be a dick, but seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
You got this little tiny company, little Keltec, that everyone likes to shit on. And
well, also, I think it's because it is a smaller company. There's less board meetings that need to be had.
Right. You don't have to convince 14 people around a table to all agree that it's a good idea.
I don't know how it works in the industry, but most of the time, the board members don't want to know about every single new product. They just want a synopsis of what happened and did it work and did it not work. And okay, if it didn't work, let's not do that again. But so I don't know. It's a really good question. I think you should do research into the confiscation, posing with confiscated items thing, and come up with a history of kind of where it came from.
Yeah.
Because after you asked that, I was like, I don't know. I wonder when it did start. Maybe it's always been that way.
Well, I mean, I've got a photo. I just shared a story on Liberty Mastermind that goes all the way back to the 1926.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really believe that that's when this hardcore government overreach shit started.
I mean, based upon history, it didn't start then.
Yeah, but it became nationalized.
It's like the reason that America is the way it was founded the way it was is because of hardcore
government overreach, right?
And that was back in 1700s.
How did we let the United States?
Because it's humans
fall into that.
That's what happens with humans.
You're gonna make me sad.
Yeah.
You're make me sad.
Well, I mean, convince me otherwise. You guys are listening. Convince me otherwise. I am convinced that it is a human condition. I have not found anything otherwise.
It's this inherent desire to be lazy and to also not be responsible for your own life. Like, I'm going to let someone else, because then I'm not responsible. Is it wrong that I really want one of these 25 round AR-15 magazines?
No, why?
What?
From Brownells.
What did you say?
He's still looking for a thing from Brownells, and he said, is it wrong that he wants a 25 round AR mag?
Yes.
It's wrong that I want that. I just do, though. I don't have to have it. It's like
a 25 round mag?
It's a 25 round steel magazine. It's basically a retro. It goes back to the original development of the AR.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Farting around and they were trying to decide what they were going to do. And at one point in time, they came up with this 25 round straight mag.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, well, fuck it. If we're going to do 25, just do 30. Because that's what the AK has. The AK holds 30. And we got to, if the enemy has a gun that has 30, we have to have a gun that has 30. Oh.
Bless you.
All right, I'm ready whenever you guys are. Zach, could you make sure that the I don't know how the SOTG giveaway thing's in there? Do we have any idea? Like, well, I guess we're live, so we shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, talk about that later. And don't worry, it'll go in the thing.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Count me in, weirdo.
Okay, so 1 second. Alrighty. So if you're both ready, we'll go ahead and start us off. Dad, in 3, 2.
All right, welcome to Wednesday's episode of Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in today and for being a part of my listening audience. And if you're relatively new, don't expect to get everything I say at the very beginning. It's okay. If I say something that goes over your head, that's good. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. What do we have to talk about today? We got to brown those bullet points. What to buy and why. That sounds like a good topic. I appreciate that. What else we have? We have a Student of the Gun Homeroom brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters. Man stabs other man for bugging him. There's got to be more to it than that. There's got to be. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. And then Watto. Would it be Watto or I think it would be Watto, not Wato. Watto. WATO, the Western American Treaty Organization.
I think we should call it the Western American Proclamation so that we can have WAP.
No.
I can call it who's rubbing something very vigorously.
Oh, you can hear that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, there's drywall being sanded right now.
There's drywall being to make him stop sanding the drywall.
I can tell.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're going to do, and a lot more on today's episode of Student of the Gun Radio.
Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio, proudly brought to you from the SDS Imports studio. If you want quality that's affordable, visit sdsimports.com. We don't just talk guns and gear, we also discuss current events and politics, because guns are politics. Now sit back and listen louder to your co-host, CEO of Full 30, Jared Markle, and your beloved host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oh, Thomas Hughes just made a good point. Thank you, Thomas Hughes. Go ahead and give yourself a gold star. The glamour shot is an outgrowth of pictures of Western sheriffs that took with the dead outlaws. I'm going to admit that I forgot that was a thing. Propping up the dead bad guys and getting the town photographer to come over with his great big bellows camera and the black powder flash. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's true.
I would almost be willing to bet money that probably still isn't the origination.
Well, you got to go back and say, we've only had cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
you had a sketch artist sit down and dutifully sketch out the police officer standing, the sheriff standing next to whatever it was.
I mean, there are other ways too. Like if you think about when they did public hangings.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, that is it's a form of celebration.
I bet there's somewhere out there, or there's multiple examples of this. Paintings of people of like the gallows and the freaking law enforcement.
Yeah, but the thing is, all that stuff that we're talking about though, is not mass media. Okay. Yeah, they could do a painting. A guy could do a painting. Like, well, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to paint this, and I'm going to restore it I'm going to record it for posterity.
Yeah, I would consider that
you couldn't give that. 100,000 people aren't going to see that painting in 1592.
Yeah.
Or a hand sketch of whatever. It's the mass media. It's the ability to put that in front of an audience, to take that image and put it in front of tens, hundreds, millions of people.
Yeah, but that doesn't explain why the action why the behavior exists, although it does lend to the behavior existing. It's like I would argue that having somebody sit down and do a painting, or somebody making a painting, is actually more involved than just snapping a picture and sharing it. It's like if you think that what you did and you accomplished by confiscating whatever it was,
KFC,
and you want to have somebody sit down and do a painting, if you think that is worthy of somebody's time to sit down and actually paint it, I think that's actually more, I don't know if negative is the word, but more of a commitment than it would be just to snap a pic and share it.
Well, but I don't think that's the point.
Maybe the medium is the means, though.
The medium is that, when it comes to it, that's the point. Is not how much time is invested in recording it. It's how many people are influenced by that. We going back to the I just shared in the Liberty Mastermind. If you guys are in the grad program, you're a member of the Liberty Mastermind. If you're not, you could be, but that's up to you. A story about how it's kind of convoluted. Essentially, the federal government in 1926 ordered industrial alcohol manufacturers, which is crazy because you think, how did the government have the authority to order a private business to alter their practice? You say, oh, yeah, that's a great question. How is it that private businesses allowed themselves all the way back in 1926 to be bullied by the feds? But essentially, in 1926, the federal government increased the amount of methanol, a poisonous alcohol-based substance, that was required in industrial alcohols. Because what people were doing, and as if you know anything about the history of Prohibition, is they were taking basically straight industrial use alcohol, like isopropyl type, whatever, and they were adding flavor to it and color and so forth, and they're making bootleg liquor. Well, the government said, hey, we got to stop these bootleggers from using industrial alcohol to make bootleg liquor. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to force you to increase the methanol amount so that it becomes poisonous. So what happened? Well, obviously, the end result was that it still did get made, and people still did negligently or accidentally or whatever drink it, and people still died. They say at least 10,000 people died from drinking this tainted alcohol that the government forced. That heretofore, before 1926, it wasn't. It wouldn't kill you. After 1926, it would. Why did it kill you? Because the federal government said, we've decided, the collective has decided that you are not allowed to have that. What? You mean the federal government would do something that would hurt people on purpose? Yeah, they would. Remember when we talked about the Tuskegee experiment last Friday? Mm-hmm. We talked about the Tuskegee experiment, or the Tuskegee study, where the U.S. federal government deliberately gave African American, Black, Negro, colored folk. I covered all the bases there because you got to cover every single one. They gave them placebos. They went into the doctor with syphilis. They were diagnosed. The doctor gave them a placebo and didn't treat it and sent them away and said, come back later and let me know how you feel. Because they wanted to test and see what would happen if you didn't treat the disease, if you just let it go. And this is when you say, no way, Paul, there's no possible way that is true. It is absolutely true. It's 100% documented. The U.S. government used the people of Alabama, specifically black people, like lab rats. The U.S. federal government deliberately forced manufacturers to turn their industrial alcohol into poison so that if people use it to make bootleg alcohol, they would drink poison and they would die.
It's crazy.
They did it. But that's history.
The question is,
they wouldn't do that now.
How do you convince private entities, businesses, doctors, whatever, to essentially turn on their own people, other humans that are their peers? How do you convince them to do that?
That is a great story.
Do it all your pull your licenses and freaking just basically ruin your entire life in business.
Yeah, but then you have to live with the people that died because of what you did. I'd rather get my license pulled.
But it's not your fault. It's the government forced you to.
Remember, but the people you're doing that to deserved it. See, in the mind of the government in 1926, if anybody consumes that, they shouldn't have done it. Therefore, they deserved to die.
Yeah, but they had to convince companies that was a good idea. And then they had to, like with the Tuskegee study, they had to convince doctors that it was a good idea to fake treat somebody. It's like, how do we know us as humans, how do we know that we wouldn't do that same thing?
How do you get people to view other people as subsets of a species?
Yeah.
As subhuman? How do you do that? Brother, it's the history of socialism. It's the history of you divide people into classes. And then once the people are divided, you take those and you elevate certain ones. And then you tell the people in that one that the other people are below them. For instance, you convince all of your suicide cult that anyone who's not willing to take a shot shouldn't be allowed to have health care.
Yeah. Well, you could also say the same thing about political parties too, Democrats and Republicans. Democrats think the same thing about Republicans. Republicans think the same thing about Democrats. And of course, that's generalized, right? It's a generalization. But if you look at the internet, yes. If you look at what people are saying on the internet, which I believe, and this is an interesting thing too, I believe that what is said on the internet is when you're standing in a conversation with actual humans in person, and somebody says something dumb, you have in your brain, you have an immediate thought that you're going to say, but then because you're in person, you want to be respectful, whatever, you're like, okay, let me think about that. Let me think about what I'm going to say before I say it. Because I want to make sure that I actually believe that initial thought that I just had. Well, on the internet and Twitter and Facebook and whatever, you have thumbs and you can do this and you're hidden behind an avatar. So it's the initial thought and you hit post before you have the opportunity and the time to actually think about what that initial thought was and whether you actually believe that's true or not. It's too late. You're like, post, and it's gone. And you already said it. Mm-hmm. Even if that's not something you believe, it might be something you believe, but it might also not be once you actually think about it. And so, and I think, based upon that stuff, I think that it absolutely is true. You can look around on the interwebs and sometimes in person too, and see that it's like, just based upon political affiliation, nothing else, just political affiliation. People are like, oh, these people are blah, 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 blah. It's like, can you give me something else other than they're just that they're a Republican or just that they're a Democrat? Like, there's other things, right? But it falls into what you're talking about, political affiliation or vaccinated, unvaccinated, or anything like that. And it's been like this since reading these great books of the Western world. I believe it's been like this since humanity has existed. We've put people into their own little things, and that group of people, it's like cliques in high school. That group of that clique doesn't hang out with this clique because those are jocks and those are geeks. But they do have some common ground, and they jocks also do geeky things and geeks do jockey things. So
right,
it's interesting.
Do you know how you curb that?
With enthusiasm.
No.
Oh.
You curb that by creating a system that allows people individual liberty. You see, everything you said
you mean like
is
the Constitution?
Correct. Yeah, everything you said is correct because up until the United States of America, you didn't have a nation. Well, England kind of with the article, no, not the Articles of Confederation, the Magna Carta. What do we know about the Magna Carta?
He says, Martin Luther didn't want to do business with Jews.
No, that's not Martin Luther. Martin Luther did not write the Magna Carta. That's the 95 Theses. But in the Magna Carta, one of the takeaways is don't owe money to the Jews. It's in there. Study science. Study your history. Read it. Yeah. But no, in the United States, see, our founders, we owe so much. When people denigrate our founders, I want to bitch slap them. I want to freaking throat punch them.
They sacrificed potentially their lives. They could have lost everything.
They put everything on the line.
They put that on the line for you and I and our kids and their kids.
But they literally spent decades. The country wasn't just formed on July 2nd. They all got in a room. They're like, hey man, you want to have a country? Let's have a country. Woo! No, they if you read the political thought of the American Revolution, it's actually decades of thought and discussion that go into the creation.
I would argue that it was lifelong in their adult lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, you go all the way back to John Locke in the late 1600s. But the point I'm trying to get to here, and then we'll move on to the Barnell's bullet points, is this. Did we already do the intro music?
Yes, we did.
Okay. All right. I don't know why I was just tuning it out, but whatever. The fact of the matter is they understood that was the way of government. That was the way of society in the world. That eventually, whether by bribery or by bullying or by lies or deceit, you got a majority, and it didn't have anything to do with democracy, because this happened even, when we had kings and emperors and czars and all that. You got a majority to go ahead and agree, the collective. And then anybody who wasn't with the collective, we crush their opinion. If they're, we got 51% of the people have all decided, and so you 49%, we're just going to crush you, whether it's by bullying or by threats or whatever. We're going to crush you down until you either are dead or you agree with us. That's it. That's the history of humankind.
Yeah, which may be one of the best ways to run a small community of people.
Well, actually, it's not. And that goes back into our leadership. We're not going to talk about that right now. But my point is this. In the United States, we knew that. Our founders knew that. They said, all right, if you look at this culture, whether it's Greek culture, whether it's the Roman Empire, whether it's, whatever. They understood history. They examined history. And they said, here's what you can do. To mitigate the desire of the clique, the cult, the majority, to mitigate that, what we're going to do is we're going to codify, we're going to examine what are rights and where do rights come from. You see, that's the thing. If rights are inalienable and endowed, if a man is endowed by his creator with certain inalienable rights, those words right there, endowed by your creator with certain inalienable rights. What that does, and if you believe that, and if you write it down and everyone says, we believe this, then it doesn't matter what the clique says. It doesn't matter what the group says. It doesn't matter what the collective says. And I talked about this a little bit on Monday. It's where do rights originate? Now, if you believe that your rights as a man originate at in the capital city, wherever the capital city is, whether the capital city is Rome or whether the capital city is Washington, D.C. or whatever, if you believe that rights originate in a building in the capital city and that the only rights you have are those that are given to you by whoever it is, whichever man occupies the big chair, whether it's a king, a czar, a president, a governor, whatever, then you will never, ever have liberty.
It would actually kind of be fascinating to me to talk to somebody that did believe that and figure out how they got to that point and why they believe that.
The system. Going back to the system. You see, the system.
Yeah, but is it just because it's easier to believe that? Because it clearly is not true. If you look at history, it's not the best way to live life as a human.
Every time the collective surrenders their rights to the system murders them. The system, hey, Communist China, 40 million at least. USSR, 20 million at least. National Socialist German Workers' Party took over Germany. About 9 million or so. Little tiny Cambodia.
They had a holiday.
Yeah, they had a holiday. The crazy thing about Cambodia is nobody remembers. They're like, oh, it was only like 1 or 2 million, 2.5 million. That's it. Yeah, but that was 20% of the whole population. Can you imagine a purge? I mean, that was almost a snap right there. 1 out of 5 people dead. 1 out of every 5 people dead. If 1 out of 100 people in your community died, it would be freak out time. It would literally be freak out time. Sorry, people would lose their minds.
Killing it with the song lyrics now. You keep saying these song lyrics.
Lose their minds. 1 out of every 5.
Oh, you can make me lose my mind.
Thanks what? Thanks to what? collectivism, the system. When you surrender to the system, and the system will decide who gets to live and who gets to die.
I had to drink some coffee to stop me from doing more song lyrics.
All right, it is a Wednesday.
And hold on, I have something to say.
All right, AmCon?
Yes, I will be in Dallas-Fort Worth area this weekend. If you're going to be there, there's 2 conventions that are going on. There's AmCon, which I will be speaking at on October 2nd at 4:30 p.m. If you can, please join me. I would love to have you there. I would love to have your support. I'll also swing by the USCCA Expo either the 1st or the 3rd and see those of you that I cannot see at AmCon. So I'll be in the area. If you will as well, send me a text message if you have my phone number. If you don't have it, then an email to Jared, JARR80 at studentofthegun.com would be fantastic.
All right. So there's that. And the links are in the show notes. So if you want specific information about like the times and the locations and all that, they are in the show notes. Oh, very good. The title sponsor is Staccato for the USCCA. They're the title sponsor.
Nice.
Staccato Arms, good stuff. The guys at Staccato Arms making really good 1911 style. 2011 style. I know they're like, it's not a 1911, it's a 2011. I get it. Good pistols, good guns. Yes, indeed. It's been over a year now. Actually, it was 1 year ago right now. It was September of last year that we were in Montana with our friends from Staccato. Montana. And got to shoot their pistols, and they're a little pricey, but you get what you pay for, man. You get what you pay for.
It's gotten to the point now where when the word Montana is seen or heard when my wife is there, and I don't do the Cartman voice, she's like, "Oh, you're not going to do that?
You're not going to do the Montana." All right, Brownell's Bullet Points brought to you by Brownell's. Oh, boom, bing, bang, boom. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what to buy and why? That is an excellent question.
You're a poet.
Excellent question. I didn't even know it. What I would say, we're back at that time again. Does it seem like we were just talking about winter projects? Doesn't it? Like, we're talking about winter projects, yeah. Because, by the time this goes out, we're looking October square in the face. And I don't know about you guys, but where I live, once the calendar turns over to October, it's getting chilly. You can feel it in the air. You can smell it in the air.
It's the fun time of year.
I can hear it on the wind. Winter is coming. So now is the time to be thinking about your winter projects. Now, of course, if you guys live in the South, you're like, I look forward to October because it's finally only in the 70s. I know when we lived down south, the September, October, November time were probably the most pleasant months because in the winter, it gets cold rain down in the South, like Mississippi and stuff. But October, November is usually a kind of a magical little time, as long as you don't have a hurricane blow in on you. But yeah, now is the time to be thinking about your winter projects. Maybe you're going to do some reloading. Maybe you're going to do a lot of reloading. If you're like most reloaders, you shoot all summer, collect your brass up, throw it in buckets, cans, and bags, and stick it on a shelf because you're thinking, well, when it gets cold, and I don't want to be outside in the sun, or I can't be outside in the sun, that's when I do my reloading. I mean, I don't want to be sitting in a workshop in the summer when it's nice out, right? Do you? No, I don't. There are a lot of pieces, parts, and components that Brownells has in stock, actually. In addition to your normal stuff in addition to your brass and what have you. Now, I'm going to admit to you guys that I haven't looked for and I haven't tried to buy primers lately. Have you? Primers. The
last time I looked, it was probably a month ago or so, and they were still pretty difficult to get. At the local shops anyway. I don't know about on the interwebs.
On the interwebs. Yeah, it looks to me like Brownells actually has CCI primers in stock right now. 1,000 box small pistol, but
I heard CCI primers are soft.
Oh, okay.
That's what my grandpappy told me.
Did your grandpappy tell you that they were soft?
Yeah. Which is, by the way, is a problem that I heard was fixed 30 years ago. But there's still people in the gun industry, gun world, gun owners that say that CCI primers are soft.
So that means that it takes less to set them off, less pressure. Yeah, but the thing is, people cry about hard primers. People use all these like 3-pound match triggers. If it's a hard primer, it won't go off, and then they're
maybe
mad.
It was hard that I saw. It was one of the two. I can't remember.
It was either
that one or yeah.
Okay, the rumor that Jared is spreading is that they're either too hard or too soft. Well, which ones are just right?
Just right.
Which ones are just right? Yeah, exactly. You don't have an answer for that, do you? Pieces, parts, components. I don't know about you guys, but I've actually my reloading / gun building room is a wreck. It's a hot ass mess. Because what I've been doing all summer is I go out and I shoot, and I come back and I have stuff and I just throw it on the counter, on the bench, and I leave. And I've been doing that basically all summer. So testify if you're with me. Testify. My gun room is a wreck. It's a hot ass mess because all I've been doing all summer is just I go in there, grab whatever I need, and then throw stuff. And so once it does, the days get shorter and the nights get long, and the temperature goes down, I'll go out and I'll straighten it out and organize it and so on and so forth. But right now, what I am looking for is I actually just went online today and I ordered some parts, some gun parts, because I am looking at, I kind of looked around, I'm like, okay, what do I want to do this winter? What projects am I going to knock out during the cold, dark time? That's what I'm doing. Now, you might think I already got everything taken care of, or I live in endless summer. It's never cold and dark here. Okay, well, if it's never cold and it's never dark where you live, then scratch that and just move on with your life. But for probably 75 to 80% of the country, it's going to be cold. It's going to be dark, and you're going to be looking for stuff to do. And if you're a gun person like we are, that's what I am looking to do. I am looking and thinking, what am I going to, work on? What am I going to add, subtract? Like I said, I just went today and I ordered some parts. And as far as Brownells is concerned, I was mentioning this to Jared, this Cordova financing system, apparently they are working with lots of companies now. I've noticed that I'm getting ads from other companies besides Brownells, ones who aren't worthy of being mentioned by me into this microphone because they don't actively and openly support Student of the Gun, which is wrong. If you think about it, Jared, that is kind of wrong. If you're a gun, if you're in the gun business and you're not openly and actively supporting and endorsing Student of the Gun, I just think that's wrong. You can unmute your mic to tell me that I'm right.
You're right.
No, you are.
No,
right.
You are right.
Absolutely are right. Yeah. So, cat in the hat, and that'd be that. What I'm doing right now, and you can do it if you want to, is when I go to Brownells, I'm looking at parts, components, pieces, maybe some tools. And that's another thing that Brownells does. And we don't often talk about it because it's not super sexy. You know, people want to talk about guns and sexy stuff, man. But nobody talks about how the fact that Brownells has the tools that make the job easier. If you've tried to assemble an AR-15 with just the standard off-the-shelf Sears tools that you have in your toolbox, you will be frustrated and you'll watch the springs and D10 pins fly across the room. Then you'll think, I wonder, is there somebody that makes a part that makes this job easier? The answer is yes. It's Brownells, because they've been doing this stuff for, 70, 80 years? And so they figured it out. They're like, you know what? If we made a part, we could make a part that would make installing that piece in the AR way easier. Why don't we do that? So, all right, that's enough for Brownell's bullet points today. You guys can text BRN to 556-223 and be advised and appraised as to what's new, what's going on, the Cordova, the new products, all that jazz. So they're good people, and we're glad to have them on board with us. Duracoat, why? What is it, Jared? You have to speak up.
Because life is too short to have an unmuted microphone.
Have an ugly gun. That's right. Life is too short to have an ugly gun. Go to DuracoatFirearmFinishes.com. Yes. We talked about the SDS Imports giveaway. You have one more day. If you're listening to this on the 29th, you have one more day to sign up for the PX9er Gen 2, the flat dark earth version. But we have another one. We have another gun coming up for the month of October, and it's going to be, I'm going to use some street lingo here. It's going to be a shoddy, yo! First time someone said that to me, I thought, what in the world is this guy talking about? I'm not sure when the street lingo of, I think it came from California. I'm going to blame California. Referring to a shotgun as a shoddy, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone told me that KSG was a badass shoddy. And I said, well, I'm glad that you think so. But we're going to have a badass shoddy for you guys in October. So that's coming up. That is coming up. So pay attention. And, I don't know what else to talk about with the, I don't want to be the guy that says, hey, when is the actual yeet cannon coming out? Because everyone's already done that. Mm-hmm. You know what I find hilarious? You know, that goes all the way back to, I guess it was the Saratoga studio. Remember when we were in the Saratoga Mountaintop studio and we went to, was it Shot 2019? Wasn't it, Jared? It was 2019.
When was it?
It was Shot 20. No, because we weren't.
That was the last one that I went to, because I missed 2020 because Ruth was born, and then 2021 didn't happen.
Right. So in 2019 is when High Point, they had a prototype of the new gun, and they didn't have a name for it yet. Remember?
Yeah.
So we jumped all on board with what should we call it?
Yeah.
And it became, man, did that thing grow legs and take on a life of its own. It went crazy.
Yeah, it did.
People who'd never heard of High Point were all of a sudden involved in it. Do you remember any of the other names besides the yeet cannon? There was others. But yeah, and they're like, you have to do it. We voted. You have to.
Yep.
And it's only a couple of years ago. And this is when you say, well, why isn't it ready? Do you remember the year 2020? Were you there? Were you? How come all these new cool things they were talking about in 2019? Hello, McFly, were you there? It might have been. Was it the 2020 SHOT Show? Maybe I might be.
I don't, and maybe it was.
Did you see the?
Man, it's hard to remember now.
So much has happened in the last 18, 19 months. It's crazy. But the news is that mug. I need to write that down. I think I saved it to the cart. I just didn't check out. I got to do that. All right, I got to do that. All right, so moving on. All right, it's time for me to be quiet and Zach to talk.
ShopSOTG.com is the perfect place to go if you are a student of the gun. Whether you want to expand your brain, increase your marksmanship, or help keep your family safe. All that, plus the pimp hand brands that you love. ShopSOTG.com has almost anything that an American patriot would want. Education, enlightenment, and entertainment, and we're open 24/7. Check out ShopSOTG.com today and see for yourself.
Listening to us live right now? Or is he the only one?
There's more.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know, but he said that we're cutting in and out.
I'll check the stream.
Okay, check the stream. Don't cross it. Just check it.
No crossing streams.
No crossing it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to this little thing that we do each and every week. It's called the Student of the Gun Homeroom, and it is brought to you by our good friends at Crossbreed Holster. All right, we discovered this story. Oh, before SOTG, get a good holster, save money. There you go. Get a good holster, save money. The production of the grad program, it was either Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which one it was. We were talking about Fort Worth, and I looked up Fort Worth man fatally stabbed victim who kept bugging him as he walked. Warrant. Warrant.
There's a lot more to the story, it seems.
Yeah, there's probably more to
in the early morning hours of September 9th in West Fort Worth, listening to videos through his headphones when a man attempted to stop him. The man made comments such as, "Isn't it beautiful? Why are you alive? Why am I alive? And you ain't so cool. I ain't so cool. Why can't we all just be cool?" The 41-year-old Phillips thought the man was intoxicated and yelled for him to leave him alone, according to the new and arrest warrant affidavit. After Phillips repeatedly yelled at the man to stay away from him, the man walked up to Phillips, their stomachs touched, and Phillips stabbed the man, according to the warrant obtained on Tuesday by the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. Phillips then called 911 and waited for the Fort Worth police to arrive. Authorities found the wounded man, who was later identified as Jason Robert Crenshaw, 37, of Fort Worth. Crenshaw was taken to the local hospital, where he later died. Phillips was arrested September 13th and charged with murder. He was in the Tarrant County Jail on Wednesday with bond set at $75,000. The warrant, written by Detective J.W. Galloway, provided these additional details on the fatal stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the information that gets kind of hairy. Phillips told detectives that he got off work at 11 p.m. on Saturday, September 8th. I'm sorry, not Saturday, but on September 8th, and started walking home like he normally does on most nights. At about 2 a.m. on September 9th, Phillips was in the Locke Avenue and Darwood Avenue area when Crenshaw showed up and appeared to be saying something to Phillips. Crenshaw grabbed Phillips from behind but Phillips quickly pushed him away and turned down his phone to hear what Crenshaw was saying. Phillips, who said he didn't know Crenshaw, told detectives that Crenshaw kept making comments that made no sense. Phillips walked away from Crenshaw and lost sight of him, but at some point Crenshaw appeared again and continued talking. Phillips told Fort Worth police that he feared Crenshaw because of his erratic behavior. When their stomachs touched, Phillips told detectives he stabbed Crenshaw once in the abdomen with a knife that Phillips carried in his front right pants pocket. Phillips called 911, reported that he had stabbed a man, and remained on the phone until police arrived. When they arrived, police found Phillips standing near Crenshaw. In an interview after the stabbing, Phillips explained to detectives the area where the stabbing occurred was not well lit, but Crenshaw was close enough to him that he could see him clearly. At one point, Phillips said he thought Crenshaw had a shirt in his hand, but when he stabbed him, Phillips did not see anything in Crenshaw's hands. When asked if Crenshaw ever threatened him, Phillips said Crenshaw repeatedly said something about, "Why are you alive? Why am I alive?" And then a little bit of history on Phillips. It says when he was a child, Phillips started seeing psychiatrists at the age of 9 because he was hearing voices and seeing things. At 18, he was arrested for drawing a gun on his sister and threatening her, and he was sentenced to 72
With a
months
marker?
What?
Drawing a gun on his sister, so she was like sleeping or something, and he took a marker and drew a gun on her? I didn't know that was a crime, but I mean, I guess, you know.
He was sentenced to 72 months of probation in August of 1998.
Well, you know that supervised adult probation is the most effective way to curb criminal behavior based upon history. I mean, that's how you curb criminal behavior, is putting people on supervised adult probation.
Yep.
Oh, so you're like, no, you don't.
There's two takeaways here. One is you probably should have some training so that you know when to actually act upon a threat. And two is some kind of self-defense insurance is probably a good idea.
Yeah. So a lot of you guys are, you know, initially, if you just read the headline readers, would be like, well, that's wrong. Just because someone was annoying you, you can't murder them.
Yeah, and then you get the whole
but
story.
Then you get
and
the whole
like,
story. You're like, yeah, that's a little bit more than just.
He grabbed him from behind. That's not bugging. That's called assault.
Yeah. When you're in public, and I'm not going to gum down on either side here, but
there's not enough info.
Let's examine this. This is what I do know, though. When I am out in public, no person, I don't care who they are, has the right to put their hands on me. Okay? No person, when you're in public, has the right to touch you. They don't have the right to bump you, put their hands on you, nothing. They do not have the right to break your personal space like that. And you're like, are you just going to stop people who bump into you in the elevator? You're an idiot. Get out of here. I'm talking about this situation. Someone's like, hey, man. And you're like, no, thanks. No, thank you. No. I'm going to keep coming and get in you. I'm going to no.
Now.
You don't. What's that?
Now, would you agree to the sentiment of possibly if they were, say, chest to chest, stomach to stomach, then maybe headbutting him in the face would have been a better option before pulling out a knife?
Well, here's the deal. Now we're dealing with semantics. See, all the karate black belts and the jiu-jitsu black belts out there are like, if this guy would have taken, the Rex Kwon Do, if this guy would have been a master of Rex Kwon Do like I am, he would have done a reverse flip hand lock wrist hold. Not my wrist. No, the other one. That one. The other one. Not with the right hand, with the left hand. Okay.
I don't think headbutts are too technical, though.
No. I get it. Here's the thing. Everything is technical. Zach, in the moment, it's easy to examine this. See, that's what they're doing now. So the detective they're all Monday morning quarterbacking this. They're like, well, you should have blah, 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 blah. You should have executed a Rex Kwando toehold. Blah, 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 blah. If you, this actually, what you just brought up, Zach, is a great point. And I've done it because it was, people asked me to do it, and I'm like, okay, will you do a 4-hour personal defense class? Yes, I'll do a 4-hour personal defense class, and I'll show you the things you need to do to make people fornicate in a different direction, right? So if someone grabs you, whatever, and this is what people do. Women go to, especially women always do this. They go to the 2-hour YMCA class, and they do it, and they go through all the motions, and then they say, thank you, and they leave. And they never do that again. They never do that stuff again. Because, well, they did it, and now they know how. That's not how the human animal works. You can't do something for a couple of hours in March of 1998 or in March of 2016, and then 5 years later, in the middle, in dark, in a panic, that's going to happen.
What you can do is a lot of repetitions, train your body to do that thing, and then maybe it will.
Exactly.
It's kind of been amazing to me. It's been a while since I've done any kind of like actual fight training, but I can still throw a punch very well. And it's
because you already put in your 10,000 hours.
Yeah, I did so much, but it's just amazing to me that the body can remember, even though it's been a little bit since I've done it, and every single day for a long time, I can still do that thing. And so then the issue becomes, your physical fitness. It's no longer, you don't have to any longer focus on mastering the technique. All you have to do now is keep up the physical fitness.
All right, for this particular situation, I'm going to go ahead and put on my attorney hat here and say that there's probably no way on God's green earth, unless they can prove premeditation, that this Crenshaw guy is going to get convicted of murder.
Yeah.
Murder requires premeditation. Murder would require that the court prove that, or Phillips. Which one was the
Phillips?
Phillips is the victim.
Yeah.
So that they would have to prove that Phillips set out that night.
Hold on a second. We need to clarify. Phillips is the guy that stabbed the other guy.
Right.
Yes. According to the story,
he's the victim of the unwanted attention by the other guy. Okay.
Yeah, I would say according to this warrant, Phillips he's the attacker.
Well,
he's the guy.
But they're going to have to. All right. And the fact that if he was premeditating this murder, the fact that he would call 911, wait, and stand there while the police came.
How many stabbings have you seen that only had one stab wound?
Almost never.
Yeah. So that's another thing that kind of stuck out to me in the story. It's like, he only stabbed him once. I mean,
what his attorneys are going to say is he did just enough to make this guy leave him, to get away from him.
Yeah.
He didn't. If the dead dude had like 18 stab wounds in him, now, not that if somebody's attacking you, you might have to slice them 18 times. I don't know. But the details that I'm seeing here, unless there's stuff that's not in here,
which is
like they're like,
possible.
they knew each other, they used to work with each other, and they had previously fought or whatever. But if these dudes never met, and this Phillips guy or this Crenshaw guy comes up and he's like, hey, man, why are you here? Why am I here? What's it all about? No, get away from me. No, man. Hey, go away. Fornicate in a different direction. No. And no, you don't understand. Like, oh, okay, hang on a second. Are there other things? Could he have pepper sprayed him? Could he have pulled out a Surefire, shine it in his face, and then if he took a step closer, took that the bezel, the bezel of the, if you take the bezel of a Surefire light and come down on the bridge of someone's nose, they generally will back away from you. And if you miss the nose and hit the clavicle, it's still okay. Let's say they pull their head back real quick at the last millisecond, and you come down and you whack that on their clavicle. That's this bone right here, in case you guys didn't go to school. Right here. Jared, have you ever been popped in the clavicle with anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it feel good?
No, it does
Did it
not.
make you want to move away from that thing that was touching you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, I don't know. This guy might, what would you do?
I would say we don't have enough information.
Right, but like let's say you're by yourself, you're walking, and some person's like, "Hey man, what's it all about?" And you're like, "Hey, I don't know you. Like, go away." And they're like, "No, I'm gonna continue to get in your face.
There are
several
things.
I'm gonna come up and touch you."
There are several things that I would do. They wouldn't get that close to touch me in the first place.
Yeah,
because the fundamental 4: lethal, sharp, bright, medical.
Yeah.
You use those things. You shine a light in that dude's face, and he might change his mind. And if he doesn't, then you know that you have to defend yourself.
The millisecond, because anybody else, if you shine a light in somebody's face at night, everyone's going to do this. They're going to put their hands up and they're going to step back.
It buys you time and distance, which gives you decisions.
Unless they're meaning to attack you.
Yeah.
Because if you do that and they come towards you deliberately, then there's no question. I don't care what they said, that they didn't say anything. So in the dangerous on demand, this is it. This is a perfect example. This guy's going to have to spend a lot of money on attorneys to get out of this. But from what I'm seeing, dude, this Crenshaw guy brought about his demise. Like I said, unless they come up with other evidence, and they're like, "Oh no, these guys, knew each other from a previous whatever, or they whatever." But if they really were strangers, and this Crenshaw whack job was like, and grabbed him and touched him, dude, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. I don't know what else to tell you, but. Yeah, it sucks for this Phillips dude, because it's going to be a long, hard road for this dude. They're probably not going to get a murder conviction because they have to prove premeditation, that he set out that night to deliberately stab this guy to death or deliberately kill this guy. And from what we see, I don't see that happening. What they're probably going to do is like they normally do. They play this little game. They throw out the murder charge, and then they terrify you, and then they come around and they're like, "Well, here's what we'll do. We'll take negligent homicide for $200, Alex. And if you'll just go ahead and plead to negligent homicide or manslaughter, and we'll throw you in jail for 5 years to give you 10 years probation." Either way, but the thing, you're like, "Well, I'll take that deal." You take that deal, you're branded with the Scarlet A for the rest of your life. So be aware. And yeah, like Jared said, just a little bit of premeditation on your part, thinking, even a good flashlight, pepper spray, whatever. Now, what if this guy was huge? What if this Crenshaw dude was like 6'5" and outweighed you by 100 pounds? And you're like, "Man, I can't less than lethal that dude. He's going to bust my head against the concrete." Well, then I don't know. He's going to, do what you got to do. But yeah, premeditation. Oh, we're already at 52 minutes?
Yeah.
Holy crab balls.
You want to move
Well, I guess Watto's going to have to wait.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. The Western American Treaty Organization is an idea whose time has come, and we're going to put that into Thursday's show. We've just been having too much fun. How do we have so much fun? You guys probably lost track of time, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. You did, we did, we all did. I think I need more cold medicine. Or maybe I don't. I don't know. All right, kids. Aren't you glad? Orange.
I didn't call you banana.
Orange, you glad that you're here with us at Student of the Gun? You are. You're like, "Man, for being a gun show, you guys get really super deep." We do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I'm going to go ahead and pop smoke on this one. I'll talk to you grad program people tomorrow. If you'd like to be a member of the grad program and listen to all the goodness that it is, go to what, Jared? What should they do?
Go to studentofthegun.com/discord and get SOTG if you want to join the grad program. I highly recommend getting into the Discord server. It's free. Once you join the Discord server, there will be instructions on if you want to join the grad program. It'll be in the welcome channel. There's a message there that our buddy Ryan Barker set up for you. He manages the Discord. Once you get in there, it'll give you a link directly to the information that you need to join the grad program.
Well, all right then. From now until the end of time, remember, you're a beginner once.
You're a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook. We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.